Hello everyone, this is Devabrata once again, and today I'm planning to take a class on function because we have already done, if you can remember or if you are following that playlist from the very starting, we have already covered string function and date time functions, but mainly those were created by the Microsoft developers itself, or you can say these are the built-in functions or ready-made functions that only we have to use. We do not need to think about the logic. We do not need to scratch our head by thinking the logic. We just need to use that. So we have done those thing already. We have used those functions already. So now today I'm planning to show you how you can create your own function. Because it is quite normal. You might face some situations where you need some other logic. You cannot use the existing logic of the existing functions that is already created by the Microsoft developers. So you might need something else. And at that time, you might need to write your own logic. So it might be complicated sometime, and you might spend probably a week behind the logic, or probably a month behind the logic. So it is suggested, if you are spending that much of time for some logic, better to put it inside function. Once you are done, once you are done with your logic, put that inside a function so that any other team member from your team, your some of your colleagues, or even if you need that logic later, at least you can refer to that, so that no one else should spend the same amount of time behind that logic. So we can save some time in the team, and that is our purpose to create the function, and that is the advantage of using function as well. So today we will discuss wholly about function, in and out, everything about the function. So let me jump into that. So for the introduction, you can get all the details in the detail section of this class. So first, prerequisites. So the list of the prerequisite thing will be quite longer this time. So it would be great if you revise everything earlier. So and to be more specific, like if you can remember the classes on string functions and date time functions that we have already used, that would be great if you can remember those. And otherwise, also if you have memory of the variables, using variables, that also if you can remember, that will be great. So almost a mixture of everything is needed in this class of function. Nothing new we will learn. All the old logic will be using, but we will put all the logics this time inside the function. So what is function, why we'll be using that, let me explain one by one. So today the list will be quite longer, like the topics we will learn today, 8 topics altogether we will learn. So let me start with the topic 1. So creating simple functions. First, I will show you how to create simple functions. So first, if anyone asks, like, create a function which will take radius input and return the diameter of the circle, how to do that? So radius input and diameter of circle. I don't know if you are familiar with the mathematics. This is our school life mathematics. So it will be something 2 into radius is our diameter. So let me write that somehow somewhere. So or I can write it here itself. So diameter is actually equal to into the radius. So suppose someone in your team doesn't know that. So we can create a function for them. So how to create a function for them? So I can write something, create. Okay, before that, I can do one thing. I can create a new table because I am bored with doing handling the old tables. So let me create something new. Just give me 1 minute. I have some files already. So let me create a new table. So if I go to the desktop, probably I will get that. Yeah, it is SQL 16. So I'm trying to create a table called movie customers, where customer ID, suppose we are working with a movie booking app. So in India, something like Book My Show, or there are many app by which we can book the movie. So customer ID, customer name, the gender of the customer, the name of the movie, show time, ticket price, ticket count, how many tickets a customer is buying. Suppose they are booking some couple ticket, they are booking some family tickets. So like a 2 for 4%, that will be also logged in this table. Show type will be a 2D or 3D, and the hall name. So everything will be captured in this table. So let me create that. Okay, it is already there, I guess. I was trying to do that, but I don't know. To be on a safer side, let me drop that and let me create that table again. And also let me insert few of the sample data here. Suppose some of the hit movies I have given on the time of 2022 end and 2023 starting. So yeah, so we have that table called movie customers now. So let me show you the data, though I need that later, but I have some data like this. If you want, I can share this data in the detail section of this class as well, so that you can easily create a table like that. You can see. So this is the data. Divya is a female customer, and she bought Avatar 2 ticket on 21st of December. The show time is from the evening 6 p.m. and ticket price is too high. It is 600, and she bought 2 tickets on the 21st December, means it is already around Christmas week. So price is quite high, and it is a 3D show, and she bought the ticket in Cinepolis, some of the movie hall Cinepolis. So something like that. So a good data to work on. But for the time being, I'm not going into that table. So I am just trying to create a function like diameter equals to 2 into radius. So someone will give the radius as input, and I will create a function which will return the diameter as output. So this is a syntax to create a function. You have to write create function. You can give any name like get diameter or something, get diameter, something like that. And here you have to mention what will be the input of this function. So I can take an input like @r or @x. It is not like you have to give r always, but I am giving r to it will represent the radius, r for radius. So you can name any variable. So for the timing, I am introducing @r, and it will be integer. Say. After that, you have to mention what you will be returning. So I will return another integer as output. And after that, you have to write begin and end. Here, you have 3 tasks. First, declare a variable. Next is populate that variable. Populate that variable with your logic. And last, return that variable. So you have 3 tasks. So here I am declaring one variable. Let it be like @d, that is supposed to be the diameter. And it is integer. Obviously, it will be integer because I have promised that the return value will be in integer. Populate that variable. How to populate? I can write select @d equals to 2 into @d. I can write that 2 into @r. So what will come from outside? I will just write 2 into that radius. So it will be diameter. And at the end, I will just write return @d. So just take a note. Here it is return. And here it is returns. So what I'm doing, again, if I repeat, it is the syntax like create function. You can give any name. I'm giving name like get diameter. I'm giving a name. It is the input @r int. And now I'm writing returns int. I'm promising that at the end, I'll be returning an integer. Then as begin and end. Inside begin and end, you have to write the body. So generally, there will be 3 lines. First, you have to declare a variable. You have to populate some value inside that variable, and you have to return that variable. 3 tasks we have to do. So what I'm doing here, declaring the variable, I'm just writing select @d equals to 2 into r. Just I'm populating that variable. And after that, I'm returning the same. So let me create the function. Probably this is the first time you are creating the function, but this will not be the first time you will be using that function. Let me show you why I'm telling that. So now from some other window, if I write select get diameter, and if I give something like, get diameter, if I give something like 5, a radius of 5, you can make it capital or not, it doesn't matter. So if I run, it will first give like, okay, it is not recognized. So using a function, at the time of using a function, you always have to give the DBO. Now, if I run, you can see it is giving 10 as answer. Okay, so whoever wants to find the diameter of the circle, he or she can enter the number without knowing the logic written inside, and he or she will get the value in return. We can do the same. We have done the same thing earlier as well. You can, if you can remember, we have do something like this left, and after that we can do something like suppose my name, if I give Devabrata, and if I write 2, it will return 2 letters from the left. So what it is doing inside left, what it is written, we do not know. It was the function. We have used a couple of functions earlier, but probably this is the first time we have created our own written function. But we have used many. So the logic of this function, we do not know. We cannot see from outside. So this is a function which is taking 2 input. One is varchar input, another is number input, and returning a varchar. We have used the functions like this earlier. But in this function, what I'm doing, so here it is taking a number input and returning a number as well. You can see. So it is returning a number as well. So this is being called a function, and it is our self-created function. So here we are taking one integer input and returning another integer value. So now if I want to write some more functions like that, so if I go through the slides, so it is saying the area of the circle. Okay, fine. So let me create another function for that. Create function. Suppose I can write get area. Suppose get area, and I can give a name like get area of circle. Last time I didn't give that. So get area of circle, and I can write @r, suppose integer it will be. And this time the area of a circle is something, as per logic, it is something 3.14 into r into r, pi r square. It is the logic. If you know the logic, if you know the formula, then it's fine. If you do not know, you can learn like this. So the area will be something like 3.14 r into r. So it will be a point value, right? So we can write something, it will returns float. So float is something that can hold any point value and return the value in a numerical value. Means like it will contain something 0.14, 0.22, 0.37, something. So it will be returning float. And now again, as begin and end, and here I can write 3 lines. First, I can put any variable like declare @a. You might be thinking like always it has to be A for area. No, you can give any value. Let me give X. Okay. And let it be float, because I have promised that this function will be returning a float value. So declare @x float. And after that, I can write select @x equals to 3.14 into r, means @r and @r. That is a variables in SQL. And at the end, I will return @x. And if I run this function get area circle, it will return the area of a circle. If you provide a, so suppose it might be possible like some of your team member doesn't know the logic of getting this area, circle area. So what you will tell? You will tell them like, okay, use my logic, use my function. You can give any value as input and you will get area as a return. So here the area of the circle will be 78.5 without knowing what is written inside. We cannot read we cannot see the logic written inside the Microsoft functions. So we can also say that to team member, like, okay, if you want, you can see the function stored here. You can go to DW database, your database. You can go to programmability. You can open function, and here you can open scalar value function. If you refresh, if you open scalar value function, you can see all the functions listed here. If you want, you can check the details of that function. But you can see we have created two functions here. But yeah, if you do not want to know the logic, and if you just want to use that without the knowing the logic written inside, you just need to give the radius as input here, and you will get the area. You just need to give the radius here, and in return you will get the area of the circle. So you can give any value. I can give 7, I can give anything. Okay, so it will give the corresponding result. Okay, got it. So now if I go to like the perimeter of the circle, suppose this time I want to give 7.3 something. Here, I cannot give 7.3. In 7, it gave the answer 153.86. If I give 7.3, it will give the same result. So no change. So I want 0.3 to be taken as a good input, because in the last function, it is taking the value as integer. So whenever I give 7.3, it will take that value as 7. No changes in the output. You can see if you give 7.3 or if you give 7, both are returning 153.86. But this time I want my function to be taken a float number as well. So what I will do, create a function, get suppose perimeter of a circle. And here, instead of integer, I can write float. And I'm promising it will return a float. So you can declare any variable inside the body. 3 lines means 3 parts you have to do, not always 3 lines. It might be more than 3 lines as well, but 3 parts, 3 things you have to do. First, declaring a variable, populating the value. So the rule of perimeter is something what I can remember, 2 into 3.14 into R, just 1 R. And I have calculated that successfully, and you can return that value. And you can create this function and share that with your team. If I do that, yeah. Now let me run that. This time, get a perimeter of a circle. You always have to use DBO in that case, okay? Just you need to remember that. So this time, if I give 7.3, it is giving 45.844. And if I give 7, it will give some different value. Let me check. Yes, it is giving the different value. So it is taking 7.3 successfully inside the float function. So this is the way how to create your own function, and you can help your team members. So if I go further and I want to create a function which will take 2 sides of rectangle this time and return the area. So the formula of rectangle area is side 1 into side 2. So let me create a function, create function. Suppose get area of a rectangle. And here I will take 2 inputs. Suppose @x integer, @y integer, say. And I'm promising that I will return the integer and as begin and end. And inside that I have to do 3 tasks. First, declare a variable, let it be area as integer. I am following all the convention, A for area, but again, we have checked, you can use any variable. And here I am writing select @A equals to @x into @y. You can go slowly. Okay, you can practice all these functions first. I intentionally, I do not share all these codes in our class detail section. If I wish, I can share all these codes with you. But unless you practice it by yourself, you will not be able to learn. That's why I intentionally do not share. I really do not need any like, any subscriber. I really do not need that. So I want, if you can practice this and if you can learn, that will be enough for me. Once you learn, you can unsubscribe the channel as well. It doesn't matter. But the matter is if you are learning this successfully or not. So type all these codes by you. If I provide all these codes, you might find like, okay, it is helping me a lot. But if it is probably you are thinking that it is helping, but in general, you will not, you are not facing error. Unless you facing the error, unless you are facing the trouble, you cannot learn. So try to type it by yourself. In case of having any problem, any code is not right, working, or giving some trouble, or giving some other data which is not matching the logic, just paste it in the comment section. Someone will take care. If I get time, I will answer that, like why it is not running. Okay, but try to type all the codes by yourself. Take some time. It is not like a 1 hour task. Take a full day and practice all the codes one by one. Then go to the next problem. Okay, so now if I execute, and it is something get area rectangle is ready. So if I go to here and if I run, select dbo dot get area rectangle, and it will take two values as input. You can see here I have written two values inside the bracket. That means it will take two input here. So let me give two input. Suppose I'm giving 5 and 3. So answer should become like 15. Okay, but yeah, other people shouldn't know that from the outside. They will just use it in ready-made nature. So that is the purpose of function. So if people are asking for the perimeter, the same thing you have to write. Let me copy the same function. Nothing major will be changed, but from the logic. So here I'm trying to create a function like get get perimeter rectangle. So at the rate x, at the rate y returns integer. So here I can write it perimeter p. So the logic will be 2 into at the rate x plus at the rate y. So those logic, who knows those logic, it might be possible someone might not know the logic. So who knows the logic, he will write the logic for the team, and rest of the team will be just using that thing. That's all. So now if I just try to use that function in ready-made nature, so it will be something get perimeter and 5, 3. I think it will be okay. Okay, perimeter is not the function. Oh, I have written a wrong syntax. Parameter I have written. But yeah, if you want, you can drop a function and create it back. You can alter the function that I will show you at the end. So for the time being, let me use that wrong name itself. I missed one I. So, but yeah, here you can see. So 5 and 3 you are giving, you are returning, it is returning 16. So it is the perimeter of that rectangle. Okay. So those are some examples, some basic examples that you can play with. First, try to create all those functions and then move to the topic 2. So this is the reason that I was explaining. Suppose these examples are really easy. If you get some more tough examples, I will show you a couple of functions today where you have to deal with some tougher logics. So, but for the time being, the reason we can understand, like if you are spending some time to solve some logic in your workplace, and so that you have to put that logic inside a function, so that in future, if anyone needs that in any other table as well, in any other parts as well, if anyone needs that logic, at least they can create, they can reuse that logic. So that is our purpose. And that is only our topic 2. Why should we create function? I will show you some more complicated logic, not that complicated, I will say, but still, at least it is complicated than those area and perimeters. So here, something you have heard about Pythagorean theorem, or you can say it's like Pythagoras theorem. So it is something height and base if you enter of a right angle triangle and find the hypotenuse. So what is the mathematics behind that? I know most of you probably do not know the logic. So if I know that logic, and if I am a member of your team, I can write a logic, I can write a function for you, so that from the next time no one else needs to know the logic. They can use my function and get the value. So the rule is something like C equals to root over A square plus B square. So A and B will be provided by the user or by my team member. In return, they will get this value. Okay, so basically they will be giving height and base, and in return they will get hypotenuse. But yeah, sometimes it is tough to understand what is height, what is base, what is right angle triangle, what is hypotenuse. So do not need to take the tension. I will take care everything at my end. You just need to use that without taking any headache. So create function I can write. Suppose I can write it like hypotenuse, and it will take height as input, or let it take as float, and base as float. You do not need to know the meaning. Even from outside, you cannot see this value at the rate h, at the rate b. It will be just two normal values you have to give. So I am promising that I will return a float in return. And as begin and end, I have to write three statements here. First, I have to declare a hypotenuse or anything. It is not like always you have to write at the rate each. Okay, at the rate each I have already declared. So let it be like hype, or let it be like x. Doesn't matter. And here I am writing select at the rate x equals to, you can use square root function, and you can write at the rate h into at the rate h plus at the rate b into at the rate b. And that is the logic itself. If you check, a square means a into a, b square means b into b. We can use other functions as well. We have some power functions. We can use that, but let it be a simple way. Let it follow a simple way. Like I'm just multiplying at the rate h into at the rate h to get the at the rate h square. And here at the rate b into at the rate b to get the at the rate b square. And I'm doing a square root. Whatever complicacy I am taking care, and at the end I am returning the value. So if I create this function, and if I do something like select hypotenuse, okay, I have to use a dbo dot hypotenuse. And here if I give some value like 3 and 4, it should return 5 as per the mathematics. So yes, it is returning 5. And other people, no need to know that thing. Just they will be just using without knowing the logic. So if anyone is asking like, my height is suppose 7.3 and base is 5.9, what will be the hypotenuse? You do not need to know the logic. You do not need to the calculation. You just use this function. It will be a simple direction from you towards your team member. So just use this thing. Do not spend time by calculating yourself or by thinking the logic to solve or to know the Pythagoras theorem. You do not need to know that. You just use my function. The name is hypo. So you just need to send a mail to your team member, whatever you know. Suppose I know Pythagoras theorem, you might know some complicated thing. So whatever you know, create a function and share that with team so that everyone else can save some time. Same, if I take this example, hour and minute and second input, and it will return the total number of seconds. It might feel an easy program, but in reality, it is not. If I tell you, like I have 2 hours, 30 minutes and 40 seconds in my hand, so answer will be 9,400 seconds. I don't know if you know how to calculate the total number of seconds here. So someone will be entering the total number of the hour, minute, and second, and I am supposed to calculate the total number of second. So here I will create a function. So suppose total seconds, and the input will be suppose hour integer. So if I take h as hour, it will help me to understand that as well. So that's why I'm trying to match that variable name with exactly what it is. So minute at the rate m, that's why I have taken, and here at the rate is for the seconds. And here I'm promising that I will be returning some integer value at the end. And now let me write the body. So here I'm trying to declare at the rate t for total seconds, say. So it helps me to just calculate the things. So at the rate t means total second. I love to take the values like that. So it will be preferred if you follow the same way. But again, if you take any other variable name, that is also okay. So at the rate h into 3600. So 1 hour means 3600 seconds. I will do a plus @ into 60 seconds. So every time you do not need to spend your time by calculating this thing. These things are pretty easy. So do not need to spend your time every time doing some manual calculation. Just do thing like that and and return at the end the variable t. So if I create this function, yeah, it is created. Now let me call this value. Like if I write select dbo dot total seconds, and it will be something like 2 hours, suppose 30 minutes and 40 seconds, say, and it should return the value like 9050. And you can enter anything. You can enter 3 hours or some complicated thing like 9 hours, 47 minutes, and 31 seconds, something like that. It will take a few seconds to calculate that. So it means 35,251 seconds. So that is the thing it will do. The last one here, suppose enter the temperature Celsius and return the temperature in Fahrenheit. So you can see similar kind of app created in our Google as well. If you check like centigrade to Fahrenheit converter, so they have created such nice app. So if you do something like suppose 30-degree temperature, it will be equivalent to 86 degree Fahrenheit. So the logic is very simple. Centigrade formula into 9/5 plus 332. So 9/5, or you can take it as 1.8, anything. So it will be something, yeah, multiply by 1.8 and then add 32 with it. So this is the simple formula. So I want to create something similar here. So I just want to create something similar. So I will just write create function centigrade to Fahrenheit, and it will take input as suppose C float temp it will take, and I'm promising that I will return another float at the end and as begin and end. As I'm promising it will be float in return, so I have to declare a variable float at the end which will I return. So here I will return the float value at the end, obviously, because I have promised. So here I have to populate the value inside this f variable. So what is the logic? It is simply 1.8 into C plus 32 that I got from Google. So I am trying to create a function so that my other team member shouldn't spend the same time to finding the logic. Okay, it is not C, it will be @C. Yeah. Because in SQL, variable starts with @. If you do not have any idea what is variable, so there was one class earlier we have done. I have also mentioned the link in the detail section. So you can check that as well. So now if I do something like select DBO centigrade to Fahrenheit, say, and if I give something like 32-degree temperature today, suppose if I execute, it will return 89.6, the answer. So something like that you can play with. Okay, so let me go to the slides. So these are the topic 2, means some more complicated program. I will not say it is that much of complicated, but still at least complicated than finding area and perimeter. So now I will deal with some function with input, with take varchar as input and return a value. So here, suppose someone is asking create a function which will input as name and gender and print the salutation. Means it is like, suppose if it is M, the gender is M, it will be called like Mr. something. If the gender is F, it will say like Miss or Mrs. something. If gender is blank or anything else, it will just print the name straightforward. So suppose it is the task in your movie customer table. Suppose the table we have created, probably movie customer. Let me check. No, customers. No, what was the name of the table? I forgot actually. What was the name? Okay, let me close all this. What was the name? So it is, okay, movie customers. Okay, let me take that name. I forgot actually, yeah. So select star from movie customer. So this is the first time I'm trying to play with this table. So we have couple of customers and their gender as well. So it is needed in your workplace to put the good name of these customers. So probably if you can remember, we have done something called case statements earlier. So I'm using that case statement and I'm writing when gender equals to male, say, then I can do something like Mr. plus the customer name. And when the gender equals to F, I'm doing Mrs., Miss or Mrs. customer name. And else, if it is something else, then I'm using just the customer name. And if I run that, it will successfully give me the answer. So look, it is like Miss or Mrs. Divya, Mr. Varun, Mr. Ishan, Mr. Anand, Miss or Mrs. Ruchika, Miss or Mrs. Nisha, Miss or Mrs. Selena, Mr. Naman, Mr. Ishan, something like that. Mr. Anand, something like that. So it is populating, it is giving what I wanted. But now this is the time, how can I put this logic inside function? Because it is dependent on a table. Probably the same logic might be needed for my colleagues or for my team members into some other uh, table. They might be using the same into employee table. But my logic is dependent on movie customer data. So here the solution is declare a function, create a function, and that is the way you have to create. Like so that it has to be general and people can use it in anywhere, not only in your movie customer table. So just all the concentration into my screen now. Create function. Let me give something like get good name, or you can give any name. So get good name, and it will take two input. I don't know from where the input will come. What will the input? So I'm just taking suppose customer name as N, and that will be varchar. For the first time, I'm using varchar as an input. Let it be 100 characters. And @G for gender, and let it be like one character only. So I'll be taking two varchar inputs, and I'm promising I'll be returns another varchar that will be probably 100 or 200, whatever you can write as begin and end. Now you have to build something that will not dependent on the movie customer table. It has to be independent. So let me write declare. Suppose declare good name. Suppose G varchar 200 as I have promised. And obviously at the end, I will return that variable @G. So two steps already done. The middle step, the task is to populate this G variable successfully. But here the logic I have written in my project, it is for movie customer table. How can I make it general? So here you have to write select @G. Obviously star will not work because this is not a table where I'm writing the logic. So when gender, there is nothing such gender. Okay, sorry, not @G. Let it be X. Because G is already we have taken as gender. So output variable is X. So now there is nothing as such gender. So I will do like @G. That will come from outside. @G equals to male. And here as well @G equals to female. Then we do not have as such customer name because customer name is available in our movie customer table. But let me make it general. Let it be @N, N for name. That user will give the input from outside. You can see here I'm taking the input. So I'm just mentioning @N instead of customer name and @G instead of customer gender. And here else, obviously customer name will not be there. So it will be something at the rate C. At the rate N, sorry. N for name. Whatever I'm getting from the user, it is the user input. I'm using those fields only. I'm not using the fields like customer name, the fields like gender. I'm not using that name because those names are dependent on movie customer table. So now this is the time I can delete this part. So our logic is very simple. We are receiving two values from the user. And here we are checking if we receive G as M, the variable gender as M, I'm replacing that with Mr. with @ M. If the gender is female, I am adding Miss or Mrs. plus @M. Else, @N will be simply be copied inside @X. And at the end, I am just returning the variable X. That's all. So I have transformed my logic into some function so that anyone else can use this getGoodName function anywhere. So let me show you. Suppose let me use that in movie customer table itself. I can use dbo.getGoodName and I can use it using customer's name, comma, gender. And it without knowing the logic, from next time people can use it here. They do not need to know what is case statement. If you forget case statement, that is still okay. You can use it in a ready-made way. You can see. Even if you want, you can use that in some other table as well. So suppose I can use that to a table called student table. We have the gender probably in the student table. So in student table, I am using this format. You can see. So if I execute, it is giving Mr. Uncle, Mr. Shreya, Miss or Mrs. Shreya, Mr. Uday, something like that. So without knowing the meaning, what is written inside, you can apply it to any table in general. So we have to create our function in general so that it can be applied to any table. And probably I am using that logic for one table, but after writing the logic, after spending a week or after spending a full day behind that logic, after learning what is case statement, if I am successful by writing that logic, after that, I will just try to create a function for my teammate. And it should be general in nature so that everyone else can use that function anywhere. So that will be my logic. And that is the purpose of creating the function. All right. So if I proceed now, let me check what else is there. So it is asking for create a function which will take price as input and print the category. So here it means it will take the ticket price from any table. It will take that value and it will try to return the category. So here it will return the varchar. So we are trying to deal with varchar this time. So this time I will try to create the function pretty straightforward. I will not use that in a table first. So I'll just try to create the function like what should be the name of the function? Category. So get category, suppose. So here I'll be trying to take input as price P. Suppose it will be integer, say, or float, whatever it is. And I'm promising that it will return a varchar this time. Returns varchar 20. Say as begin and end. It's the same thing. I have to declare. I have to put 3 lines here. First is suppose declare some @x varchar because I have promised to return varchar. Suppose varchar 20 will be enough, I guess. And at the end, I will return that value. And here inside, I have to populate that. So select @x equals to, I will write a case statement. So what will be the case statement? When price greater than, let me follow the logic, greater than 600, then it will be luxury, say. So whatever they have written, I will just copy that. When it will be 401 and 600. So when @ price greater than equals to 401, 2, and at the rate p less than 600, then it will be high. Something like that. Too much price nowadays, ticket price of movie. So now let me copy this structure, and next one is probably 201 to 400. Okay. And next one is 0 to 200. Okay. So if it is 0 to 200, let me write that in, let me make it sync. Yeah. So it is high, then normal, then budget. Then it will be budget. And the last one is unknown. If something else, some negative value or something blank, suppose, so it will be called as unknown. So I guess that's all you have to write. So it will be good if you just revise the case statements once. So now I have to use that in any table, anywhere. If you have a thing like price, so select start. Let me use DBO dot get category. And here, okay, here I have used DBO. Either you can mention or you can skip as well. But here at the time of calling, you have to mention DBO always. Okay. So let me put the price of the ticket from the table movie customer probably. Yeah. See if I execute. Okay, it was not price. Let me check the name. Let me check the name. You can take the value from anywhere. So it is ticket price. Okay, fine. Ticket price. So I have to write ticket price. I have to input ticket price. Yeah. So if I execute, you can see ticket price is, okay, why it is calling unknown? Probably I have written some wrong logic. At the rate p greater than 600, it is luxury. So why it is showing unknown? Luxury, it is saying to the ticket price 600. Okay, I forgot one thing. I have written a logic where I have written less than 600, but not less than equals to 600. So if you want to change the function, you can write alter. It is a nice thing to learn as well. So this is mathematically I have done wrong. So it has to be equals to. Otherwise, if any ticket price is 600, that will be missed. That is going to the else part. Because it is not greater than 600, it is not less than 600. So I have to use less than equals to 600. A big miss from my end, and it is being called as a logical miss. So I'm not that good in mathematics, probably. That's why I failed. But yeah, now let me run it once again. And now it should give the good comments or good category. So it is the high ticket, it is the budget ticket, it is the luxury. So one unknown is there because ticket price is not mentioned somehow. Okay, probably it is a complimentary ticket or something for a James Bond movie like No Time to Die. Probably it is a James Bond movie. So something like that. So ticket price is unknown here because it is null. So that's the thing where you can take varchar input, you can return varchar input. So if we go further and if we check how to function create, how to deal with the date time function. So something like here. Suppose someone is giving a date like 20 December 2023. 20 December is my birthday anyhow. But anyway, they return the format like this. Generally, we have a function by which we can get all these formats. So if I take a look into movie customer table, probably we have some date field. Yeah, show time is the date field. So if you want, you can use a convert function. So convert, it works in that way. Varchar anything, varchar 20, varchar 30, and you have to just give a show time as input. If you give this to input, it will return it in this format. December 21. If you want to change the format, you can give something 100. These are the style codes. You can see if you give something like 101, say, this is a style code. First month will come, then day, then year. So it is probably a US timing, US time format. If you give 102, it will give it with dot. If you give 103, it will give in other formats. It is the Indian format or UK format, you can say. First day, then month, then year. So you can search that in Google, whatever the formula you have, convert function in SQL, say. If you check any link, suppose let me open W3 School, you will get the full list. I generally do not remember this thing. So whenever needed, I check it from Google. So this is kind of link you have. But if they require some new format, they want month at the starting, then year, then day. How to get that? Because it is not listed any of this in format. So first month, then year, then day. So we have to write our own logic for that. So what will be the logic? So I can write create function. Okay, let me first explore it in this table. In this table, let me explore that first. So here I can first fetch what it is looking for. First month, okay. So first I will use the month function, month show time. Then I will try to fetch year of show time. These functions. These are the ready-made functions created by built-in function created by Microsoft itself, and we are going to use them. Month, year, and day. So they are also taking this type of functions are also taking date as input. You can see we have used that earlier. And as a prerequisite, I have already told you it will be good if you can just go through the ready-made functions or built-in functions. So here you can see we are able to successfully split them up. This is month, this is year, and this is day. So now what I will do, I will add all of them. Plus, so if I just simply add them, it will be a simple mathematical sum. Let me show you. It will be simple mathematical sum, but I do not need that. I need to do it with some slash, I guess, right? Oh, some hyphen. So some hyphen in mid, some hyphen in mid. I need it in that way. So now if I run, it will give the error. Or no, it is still how it is taking that. Okay, it is also doing some minus or something. How can I make it understandable? Like I need the sum. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, it is still doing that thing. So I can do something, if I do something dot slash or something, let me use that. And let me execute. Okay, now it is saying it cannot be converted to data type integer. Yeah, I know integer cannot be matched with the varchar value. So what I need to do, I have to spend some time on that to make it varchar. So it is not that easy problem, but let me try to make it varchar. So cast, then I have to add another cast. So I have to change all the values into varchar. Otherwise, I cannot add it with hyphen with those varchar values. Let me again use cast. So probably in your office, you have to spend a lot of time behind that. And after that, your task will be to create the same for your teammates. But again, in real life, I have seen the reverse thing. If people are spending some time on some query, they are not ready to share that with the teammates. The completely reverse logic they work on. But again, it will be good if you share that with your team member. So this is the thing. Okay, so here you can see this is the logic. So now you can think more how to for this date how to bring a zero, initial zero and initial zero here. So it will be like 02 2023 and 01. So you have to spend some time on that as well. I'm not spending time. If you are not getting the result, if you are not able to think something, let me know. I will paste that logic in the comment section. But here, this is the way how you can make it possible, like first month, then year, then day. So now what will be our task to create a function for the same? So let me create a function, suppose get format something, and it will take a input D for date time, suppose, and I am promising that I will return a varchar here. Varchar, suppose 40, I guess will be enough. As begin and end. You do not need to calculate it so specifically, you can use any variable. It should at least have the enough space to hold this numbers. So declare @x, suppose varchar, and at the end, I will return that varchar value, obviously. And in middle, I will paste my query. So what will be the logic? Instead of star, I will put @x equals to, and this will be my logic. Instead of show time, I have to give @d. That will be given from the user. I know too many logic. You can split this class into two parts, but I have to show everything well documented in one part of this class. So it will be wholly about function. I'll be creating several functions for you so that the things will be easier for you to understand. So now I can simply use that function called get format, and it will give me the result handy. So dbo dot get format, and I am using show time here from movie customer. So if I run, it will give me the result probably. Okay, why it is not giving? Something I'm doing wrong, probably. Get format. Okay, probably I have to change the name. It is matching with some other one. Get formats, suppose. If I execute, suppose we have something called get formats in build. So let me use double S. No, it is giving me wrong answer. Why? I have to check that. Cast month here. Why it is giving us such result? So the problem is happening because I am taking it as varchar. So I have to take it as varchar 40 and let me alter the function. So I guess it should work. Yep. So let me check. Let me try to call this function somehow from here. So now it is working. You can see. So this is the way how you have to take input of a date time, and you have to return the varchar as per your desired format. If that format is not available by the Microsoft functions. So in convert function, we cannot achieve that format. So we can create it by ourselves. And now again, as I was saying, you can think, if you have time, you can think how to put 01 here, how to put 02 here in front of 2. If it is a single digit, how to put 02, something like that. It is very easy though, but I'm not going to show that here, because otherwise it will be a bit of complicated thing will be happening. So that's why I want to focus on entirely on the function. That's why I'm not showing that. But still, if you face any issue with that, you can put a comment in the comment section. I will try to help you over there. So the topic, if I go to the topic 5, so it is something function created with another functions. So that actually we have already achieved. We have already used some of the existing functions. Like here, I have used convert thing. Here I have used cast function. But still, if I show you, it is quite possible to use another function at the time of developing your own function. So suppose I got a nice idea from some of my students during the classes. Like someone asked me how to find the occurrence or the frequency of a character inside the text. Suppose as an example, if you take my name Devabrata, so what will be the occurrence of a, or what will be the frequency of a inside my name? So it will be 3, because there is 3a inside my name. So there is no such function, no such built-in function available here in to get that value, to get that frequency of a. So what I can do, I can create our own function. So like I can write simply create function. Let me give some name like BW, like frequency something. And here I can take, okay, first, instead of doing that, first, let me write the logic. So select star from, suppose, movie customers. So here I can see the name, I can see all the names. So what I can do, if you can remember that string function class, we have something called length function we have already defined. So if I can use that customer name, and you can see the length of each one's name, like Divya is having 5 character, Varun is having 5 character, Ishan is having 6 characters, something like that. I can also do something like replace function I can use, where I can change something like customer name. I can replace all the A's with blank. Say, I'm just trying to think on the logic. So if I replace all the A with blank, then Divya will be something like this without A. Varun will become something like this without A. Ishan will become something like this without two A's. And Anand will miss two A and it will look like something NNT. So now, if I want to try to find the length of this field, length of this field. So obviously, Divya, in this field, it will be 4. In case of Varun, it will be 4. In case of Anand, it will be 3, something like that. So if I run, you can see, yes, 4, 4. For Anand, it is 3 because 2 A's will be replaced. So now simply, if I just write minus, then I can get the number of A's in each name. So 5 minus 4, 1 is the frequency of A in Divya's name. So what I'm doing, first I'm calculating the length of the whole text, and then after removing the A, what will be the length of that text. So I'm just extracting both of them. And now if I minus, I will get the occurrences of A. So this is the length of the full string, and this is the length of the string without A. So if I minus them, I will get the frequency of A. So 5 minus 4, it will be 1. So Divya has 1A. Same in case of Varun, Varun has 1A, 5 minus 4. So if I go to Anand, Anand has 2 A's, 5 minus 3, it will be 2. So something like that. Our logic will be something like that. So if I run, so it should give me the frequency of A. So now if I want to make it a general, and if I want to put this logic, suppose I spend 1 hour to find that logic and I want to make it available for all of my colleagues or all of my friends, so that they do not need to think the same logic when they will face the similar kind of situation. So it will be good if we create the function called frequency now, because we have already written the logic and we understood the logic, how it is being operated. So now I can write something at the rate in varchar. Suppose let it be 100, and at the rate of C, let it be like varchar 1. I will just try to find the frequency of one character. And after that, I'm promising in return, I will return an integer variable. And after that, as begin, and here I can write end. So here I can declare something, a variable called x integer. And here I can write select at the rate x equals to length of. So now here obviously customer name is dependent on that particular table. So I will write at the rate n. Here again, customer name, instead of customer name, I can give the variable that is being given by the user as an input. So instead of customer name, I am using that variable. If you want, you can replace this A as well with the character that user will give. So I'm taking two inputs, name and the character itself. So it will be more dynamic in that way. So if I use at the rate C, and I do not need to refer to any table here. So at the last part, I can just write return the rate x. And if I create this function, frequency, you can see it worked. So now in the table, I can simply call this function. So I can write select star and dbo dot frequency. And here I can name like customer name. And I can put anything. I can put like I want to find the occurrence or frequency of A from the table movie customers. See. So it will just find out number of A's are there in the name. So you can take any name. So here if I take from Selena's name, it is double A is there. If I take Naman, so it is double A. And you can find anything. So if I find something called suppose P, suppose any random value, random character, you can find no name has P. Okay, let me search N something. So if I execute, you can see in Varun's name there is one A, one N. In Ishan's name we have one N. In Anand's name we have two N. So these are the values. But in Divya's name we do not have any N here. So this is a good function we have created. And to create that, we have used several existing function like len function we have used, like replace function we have used. So it is quite possible to create a function. You might require some other function. So that's why I have mentioned that as a new topic so that you can remember. So, but in general, all of those are for some logic. Okay. And in function, you have to remember one thing. We are not changing the data of, we are not changing the exact data. We are putting some logics by each of the functions. We have created many functions till now, but the actual table value, we are not touching that. We are not changing the actual table value. So those values are unchanged. We are trying to return many values by putting some logic, but we are not touching the data. Means we are not changing it in actual. Okay. So topic 6, if we go, so it is function using procedural language, and this will be something complicated if you forget our variable class. But if you can remember our variable class, it will be that easy. So create a function which will take year as an input and return yes if it is leap year and return no if it is not. So here, the logic is pretty tough, the real logic of leap year. But yeah, if I try to understand 2024, it is a leap year because it is divisible by 4. But 2025 is not a leap year because it is not divisible by 4. So I can create a function. I can try to create a function called leap year, suppose, and it will take a year as an input, and it is confirming returning a varchar 3 character maximum, because yes or no, yes is having 3 characters, no is having 2 characters, so varchar 3 will be enough if I take. So returns varchar 3 as begin and end. So now I have to check if that year, it might be 2023, it might be 2022, it might be 2024, anything can come with this at the rate I, at the rate y. So I just need to take a look like this. If at the rate y percentage 4, how can I understand if a number is divisible by 4? If I divide that number with 4, and we will not get any remainder, because if you just think 8, 12, 16, everyone out of them are divisible by 4. If I check the quotient or if I check the answer is 2 here. If I divide 12 with 4, the answer is 3. If I divide 16 by 4, it will be 4. So if you check the quotient, you will not get any similarity. But if you get the remainder, if you divide 8 by 4, remainder will come as 0. If you divide 12 by 4, remainder will come as 0. If we divide 16 by 4, remainder will come as 0. But if you try to divide 17 by 4, the answer will come as 4, but the remainder will come as 1. So we can say a number is divisible by any number if the remainder comes as 0. So here we are trying to find if a year is divisible by 4 or not. So it will be enough if we check if the percentage means it always gives the remainder. If I show you something like select 16 percentage, suppose 20 percentage 4, it should give you 0. But if I write 20 divided by 4, it should give you 5. Simply. If I tell you 24 divided by 4, it will give you 6. So there is no similarity in the quotient or the answer. But if you check the remainder always, 24 percentage 4, it will always give the 0. But if I check 25 percentage 4, the remainder will be 1 because 25 is not divisible by 4. So now if the given year is divisible by 4, then I can do something like begin. Okay, let me declare something. Declare @x varchar 3. And here I can write select @x equals to yes, and else if it is not divisible by if it is not divisible by 4, then I can write something begin end, or I think begin end is not needed when I am forgetting the variable class. But again, if you forget, you can just check the class of variable. So here I can write no. Let me try. If it doesn't work, I can change it and then return @x. So I am declaring one variable. I am populating that variable. If it is divisible by 4, I'm putting yes. If it is not, I'm putting no. And at last, I'm returning x. So if I create this function, and then if I try to call it, like select leap year with 2020, let me check. Oh, sorry, it is dbo.leap year probably. Yeah. If I check, it is yes. If I put 2021 like this, it is no. If I put 2024, it is a leap year, yes. And if I put 2025, it should not be a leap year, something like that. But in actual, it is that much complicated, I will say. I don't know if anyone knows the exact the leap year logic. So 2100 is not a leap year, but 2100 is divisible by 4 because 2100 is divisible by 100 as well. So it is a complicated logic. So if anyone knows the exact logic of leap year, I can write that as well. But it will be a geographical knowledge is needed, how a year becomes leap year and not. So simply, if a year is divisible by 400, yes, it is leap year. If it is not divisible by 400, this is the actual function, actual logic works like that. If it is not divisible by 400, but divisible by 100, then it is not a leap year. If it is not divisible by 100, and if it is divisible by 4, simply, then it is a leap year. If you do not understand this, you can skip this part. But if you are understanding this, then that means it is good. So, but again, if you do not understand this, it is not needed at all. Okay, but still, if you love geography like me, because after some time I got something which I love actually. So my first love was geography in my school days, but I couldn't take that because in our society it was being considered like if you take a science subject, then you are good. So I have to take that subject without my wish. But still, if a year is divisible by 400, it is leap year. If it is not divisible by 400, then check if it is divisible by 100 or not. If it is divisible by 100, then no, it is not a leap year. Like here, I can mention the year like 2000, year like 2400. Those are straight cut divisible by 400. So they are leap year. If they are not divisible by 400 and if they are divisible by 100, so year like 2300, year like 2100, they are not divisible by 400, but they are divisible by 100. So I can put no, not a leap year. So if it is not divisible by 100, then if it is divisible by somehow 4, not divisible by 100, but divisible by 4. The year like 2024, year like 2028. So we can mark them as yes. And which is not even divisible by 4. In the else part, I can write the year like 2021, year like 2025. So you can mark that as year like 2026 even, which is not divisible by 4 even. So you can mark it as no. So if I change the definition by altering the function, sorry, something I have written wrong. What I have written wrong? Okay, here I have written only y. So it will be at the rate y. So if I execute, yeah, that's the logic. So now if I give 2100, it is more powerful now. It is more logical now. So if I give 2100, it is not. If I put 2400 here, so it will be leap year, yes. And if I put a normal year like 2028, and yes, it is leap year as well. So this is the logic all about of the leap year. So you can play with that. Again, something like enter a number and print its factorial. How to do that? Okay, what do you mean by factorial? Suppose the factorial of 5 is 120. So what is the mathematics behind that? Uh, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Till 1, if you multiply by all of the numbers, that will be called as a factorial. So if I put 6, so 6 factorial will be something like 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So I don't know what will be the result. So something like that we have to calculate. So I'm trying to calculate that, create function. Suppose factorial. I don't know if we have anything as such in our mathematical library functions, but okay, if we have something inbuilt function or not. But let me try to create something like that. So I will take @x integer, and I'm confirming I'll be returning another integer. So as begin and end, and here I'm trying to show as much as I can, many functions I'm trying to show you. So here I'm writing select @f equals to 1. I will try to populate that value because at last I will be returning the value of f. So how returning @f? So here I have to calculate the value of f. How we can calculate? I can simply write while. Okay, I can take another variable. Suppose declare @i. So this is the first part, declaring one variable. This is the last part, returning the variable. In between, I have to calculate. So declare @i as integer, selecting initial value as f equals to 1. And I have to write something while @i is less than, @i is less than equals to @x. So @i will start from 1 itself. So I will keep iterate it until it becomes 5. And what I need to do in between, every time I have to do like @f equals to @f into @i. And every time I'll be increasing the value of I. If you can remember our variable class, we have tried to create some loop using that, where we have printed 1 to 10, 1 to 100, something similar to that. Here what I'm doing again, suppose it is x is 5. Every time I'm checking 1 is less than 5. Answer is yes. I'm just writing f equals to f into 1. Next time I is becoming 2. So 2 is less than 5. Yes. So f becoming 1 into 2. So the value of f is now 2. And I becomes 3 here. Next time f is becoming f older value of f into I. So 2 into 3, f becomes 6 and I become 4. Next time older value of f into I means 4. So it becomes 24 and I become 5. Next time older value of f into I. So into 5. So it becomes 120 and I becomes 6. And here 6 is less than equals to say 5. No, the value of x was 5. So that's all. We will be returning the value of f, and that is 120. So now if I execute that, if I create that function, and if I try to call that function, select suppose dbo dot frequency something sorry, it is factorial, sorry. So factorial, and if I give 5, it should return something 120. If I give 3, so 3 into 2 into 1, it will be 6. If I give 7, so something will come, I cannot calculate. So 5040. So this is the factorial example. And we have created many examples here. If I just refresh this function list, we have created a couple of functions today, many functions created today. And it is a good set of example. And I'm trying to show you in and out everything about function today, about the scalar functions where you are returning only one value. Okay, I'm trying to do everything with the scalar functions. So now last two slides, last two topic very quickly. So from where a function can be used? A function can be used from anywhere. Can be used from the variable input. Let me show you. Let me take any of these functions, any of the functions. Let me take suppose format function. Let me use. So if I use select dbo dot formats, it was changing the date, if you can remember. So I can declare a variable like declare @x equals to, I can put some date like okay, @x date time, and I can put some date here. Select @x equals to get date, and you can use this variable here inside the function, and it should work. Okay, something I'm doing wrong. It is get formats. Okay, get formats. If I run, it should work. Look, today's date is 7th February 2023. So something like that, it will work. So from the variable input, you can call a function. You can call a function with direct input as well. So if I take a direct value, like this is the value. So either I can store it here even. I can store this value here even inside a variable, and I can call that variable. That is one option. Even if you want, you can second option, you can directly call that function. So this is the first approach. You can store the value and call a variable. So function can be accessible from anywhere. That I want to prove. After this class, you shouldn't have any confusion with the function. That I'm trying to create in your mind so that you will be feeling comfortable after seeing many functions we have created. After seeing all of those, at least you shouldn't feel scared when you see function. So I can directly use that value inside the function. It will still give the same. If I go for the third option, what is that? Let me check. Can be used with the data coming from a table. Yeah, we can do that even. We can select multiple data one by one. So I can write dbo dot get formats. And I can write something called show time, probably. I forgot, from movie customer. So if I check, I forgot the field. Okay, no, it is not. Let me give show underscore time. I'm trying to remember. It is a new table. Yeah, it is working. You can see. So if this date is taking as input, it is giving output like this. If it is taking this date, output will be something like this. If it is taking 13 January 2023, it will give something like this. So it might work with a variable. It might work with a direct value. It might work with a value from the table. For each row, it is taking one input and giving the output. It can take the value from anywhere. That I'm trying to prove. And it can be used with the data input from anywhere. Anywhere means I can also use something like, I can use something like another function like getDate. I can simply input the current date using getDate here directly. Okay, something getting wrong. Okay, star will not go here because we are not dealing with the table. So you can see data is coming. So I want to make this class, make this video as a one-stop solution of all scalar value function. So this one. Probably next class, I'm going to discuss the table valued function, but this is the most important function you have to deal with. It is being called as a user-defined function, and as it is returning one variable only, in all the functions, it is just returning one value at the end. It is returning only one value. That's why it is being called as a scalar value function. And I'm giving that much of, I know the class is already more than 1 hour and it is almost at 1.5 hours going on. So, but I want to make everything, I want to put everything related to this scalar value function inside one video. And that's why I'm trying to put as much logic as I can, as much example as I can. So, but it is the last one. If you want to change some function, you can do that. We have multiple times we have altered the data. So if you feel like, okay, you will change some definition, obviously you can change that. If I take a function called get format, let me try to create the function body, create two. If you click, I can create that function. It will take some time. So this function has been created. So if you want to change, let me delete all these things. If you want to change the function body, it was giving some error at that time. So I can alter. We have already checked that, but still we can change this varchar 40 because it was created in a wrong manner. So if I give varchar 40 and if I execute, the definition or the body of that function has changed. And now if you want to delete that function, simply. So this is how you can change a body of a function or the definition of a function. And if you want to drop a function totally, if you want to delete everything of that function, so you can write something like drop and the function, drop function and the function name only. You do not need to give those inputs and all. So you do not need to use these brackets. So yeah, if I execute, the function will be dropped. So once I refresh, you cannot see this get format function anymore. So let me refresh that function list. Yeah, and you cannot see get format anymore. Okay, so that's all. And if you want, you can go to our Facebook group and you can try to solve the exercise as well. So the exercise will be available into the media section of our WhatsApp group. Sorry, in our Facebook group. If you go there, okay, it is behaving slow. If you go to the album, and you will see one album called SQL Basic Exercise. So you can go to there and you will get all the chapters one by one as per the playlist go on. You can see all of the chapters there. So you can try to solve the exercise as well. If you face any doubts, from the exercise or if you face any code that we have tried today, if any of them is not running or giving some unexpected output, anything, you can mention that in our comment section. We will try to check. Either me or any of my student will try to check the same. So yeah, so I hope you do not have any more trouble with the function, I guess. And if you try all of these functions, I think everything will be solved. So let's hope for the best and all the best. If you face any problem, again, let me know in the comment section. So that's all for the day. Bye.